and he's been doing it for a while. It is Jeff DeRose, the head coach of South Range Softball. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Anthony, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Coach, we know every rose has its thorn, but it seems like every Raider has a bat this season, too, going into this lineup. I want to give you a chance to highlight some of your returners going into this season and some of the new faces in Raider softball that are going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, of course, we lost two really good hitters from last year, which returned 7 of our starters from last year. What is great for us is that our depth last year is a year older this year. So we're returning, going through the lineup. In my mind, Julie Stakowitz, Sam Suzanne are 2 huge hitters for us. Reagan Irons is one of our better senior hitters, and she's doing quite well. And you can't forget about Madison Data, who I have at leadoff right now. She's got tremendous speed. But going down the line, Kelly Zolik, Jamie Farron stepping her game up. Hannah Ball is coming around hitting wise, and we put 3 freshmen on the varsity this year, and they're going through some bumps and bruises right now, but I'm expecting some big things from them as well.
Coach, I think the biggest question the Raider fans probably have after Bree Kohler graduates, and obviously you guys depended so much on her in the circle. What's the pitching situation going to look like in South Range this year?
I'd mentioned Sam Suzanne and Julie Stakowitz. They're going to get the bulk of the innings. They pitched very limited innings last year because of Bree, but they play a relatively competitive travel schedule, and so they get a lot of pitching in that area. But we're 3 scrimmages in already, believe it or not, and Julie and Sam got all of the innings, and they've done very well. I'm very pleased with their speed. Got to work a little bit on off speed, but their location seems to be working very good. And we beat Louisville pretty handily in a scrimmage, and did very well against West Branch as well. And yesterday we went up to Fitch, and they performed pretty well against them too. We gave up 4 runs against Fitch, but pretty good for early in the season right now. Like I said, I'm very pleased with those 2.
Preview this conference for us if you can, Coach, and just tell us a little bit about what challenges are going to be inside that NE8 this year, and what it's gonna kind of take for you guys to get back to the top and try to claim an NE8 crown this year.
Yeah, I mean, last year, as you know, we tied with Poland. Poland beat us twice, but they ended up losing to 2 other teams in our league that we swept. It's going to be Poland again. They're always good, and I think we have a very good chance of winning it as well. You can't count out Hubbard. They got a D1 recruit on their pitching staff and shortstop, so and they're under a new coach too. So maybe he may change some things around there. I don't know. So I can't speak intelligently about the other teams because I don't know like what Struthers may be bringing to the table this year. Girard, they're always very competitive. Jefferson's always very competitive, and we have them next week to open up the season. Niles hasn't been very competitive at all. So, who knows? They may bring something to the table that I'm unaware of. But if I were to guess, I would think it would be a 3-horse race between South Range, Poland, and Hubbard.
Let's just follow this up real quick then, Coach. For you to focus on yourself, for you guys to win the conference, finish this sentence for me then. South Range wins the NE8 if?
We beat Poland and Hubbard.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It comes down to those games, though. But I mean, that's 4 games on the schedule that all of a sudden Raiders fans need to circle. And if you guys aren't going to go to any games, or if they're going to go to certain games, I think those are the ones to circle. And like you said, Coach, I mean, Poland beating you twice. I got to figure inside that locker room, there's a little bit of animosity before playing the.
You know how you want those games back. There's time. There's one of the games against Poland I want back. I mean, we jumped out to a big lead and then kind of crapped down our leg the very next half inning and let them back in the game, and then they grabbed that momentum and took it from there.
both games were just slugfest too, Coach. I mean, home
yeah.
runs, boom, home run. It was insane the power that those two lineups kind of put out. We're very familiar with the teams in your conference. Talk about your non-conference schedule. I know you guys always try to get a lot really tough non-conference schedule. Talk about who you got out of conference and what other teams pop up on the schedule this year.
Yeah, it's actually even more brutal this year than years past. And I was flattered about 6 months ago. I got a phone call from Jerry Goodpasture from North Canton Hoover saying, "Hey, I'd really like to play you guys." And North Canton Hoover, as everybody knows, is a Division I powerhouse with many state championships. So we got North Canton Hoover on the schedule this year. Of course, we're going back to Stowe, playing them in Talmadge. And we were also invited to the Prebus Invitational, which is an invitational of what they refer to as elite teams. So we got like Mount Vernon, we got a couple other teams that are like very, very good that we're going to be playing there. So to sum things up, our schedule is Division I, Division II. We do not have a Division III opponent on our schedule, unless there's somebody in Annie 8 that moved down, maybe Girard, but other than that, it's Division I, Division II. And then the really neat thing, and one of our out-of-conference opponents happens to be Beaver area local school district out of Pennsylvania that we are going to be playing down at the Grand Strand Classic in Myrtle Beach. They're coached by my niece and my brother-in-law, and they won the state championship last year. With Peyton List on their pitching staff, who's going to committed to Virginia Tech. 68 mile an hour fastball, 45 mile an hour changeup. Can't wait to see her.
Coach, you got to talk about that matchup a little bit then too. I mean, has there been internal talks with you and the niece about this game upcoming? And I mean,
oh yeah, because we've been to the dance twice, and I'm not one to talk about my team to my family. I just don't. I let the girls do the talking. And, when I get questions, I tell them, yeah, we're a good program, and, our record shows and what have you. But I'll never forget the Christmas dinner at my sister's house when my niece walks in and throws her state championship ring in my face and says, "I wish you had one of these." Yeah. So I'm like, you little BIT, So here's the deal. So over the years, I've actually tried playing her and never had the opportunity to do it. She started questioning me about our Myrtle Beach trip because we've been going down there a lot. And so now Beaver is going down to the Grand Strand Classic. And then when I talked to the tournament director about 2 weeks ago, she says, "Hey, do you know a team called Beaver Area Local Schools out of Pennsylvania?" And I says, "All too well."
All too well.
She said, "They requested to play you guys." And I said, "Put them on the schedule." So
that's going to be a great time.
I can't wait. It's going to be, if we win, it's going to be a tough win. We saw a fireballer yesterday at Fitch. I'm throwing 68, a decent changeup, not as good as Peyton from Beaver in Pennsylvania, but our girls had a hard time catching up to her. So hopefully we'll be ready for her. It's only a couple weeks away, believe it or not.
Coach, talking about the schedule, when you put together a schedule like that, though, just a real quick question for you, because for certain coaches, for certain athletic directors, I guess it kind of just depends on the talent that you have on the team. Some go pitching heavy, some kind of go through tough lineups for their pitchers to deal with. Do you guys kind of look for a balance, or do you look for pitcher heavy, lineup heavy? What are you looking for, particularly in games you're scheduling?
Yeah, Dawn Farron allows me to make my own schedule, which is great. I don't look for anything other than great teams, because I'm a firm believer of if you want to get better yourself as a team, you got to play teams that are better than you. And whether it be pitching or hitting, because our defense is going to, of course, need tested this year. Sam and Julie that are going to be getting the bulk of the innings on the mound. They're going to get hit a little bit more than what Bree probably got hit last year. So it's more getting our defense ready. And so we're playing teams that I think are going to hit the ball. And, like I said, we had a very difficult schedule last year, and we ended up winning 30 games. So, if we play well and lose, then we play well and lose. I'm not chasing wins. I'm chasing getting better. And then when we get to the tournament, hopefully we're ready.
Coach, this is a team, like you said, 7 players returned from last year's roster, and there's 7 players that kind of got the taste of that state championship game and know what it takes to get there. How much does that experience do you think is going to come back this year and really help you guys keep the standard high, keep the work ethic high, and not falter during these tough games that you're going to have on your schedule?
And that's a great question because if you think back in 2016, we went to the state championship and lost and returned 8 players from that team.
Yes.
Lost in the districts the next year.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring up 2017 myself.
I'm bringing it up because that's one of the first things I wanted to talk to these girls about when we started the season is, great season last year, girls. Now get it out of your head. It's a brand new season. Everybody's 0-0, and that's where we start. So it's great to have that experience, but I don't want it in their heads, and I don't believe it's in their heads. So that's a good thing.
South Range hoping for some a Christmas gift in the form of some sectional district and regional champions. As you got that Santa Claus up in the background, DJ's.
Oh yeah, see, I'm in my office. I even changed my work shirt. Can you see it behind me? I put my Raider stuff on, man. I love South Range. I just love it.
Stay it festive. It's Christmas every day at South Range, especially when we get into softball season. Coach, I'd be hard pressed to not let you shout out your staff and some of the other assistants and some other big names in that South Range program that we know you couldn't do it all without, and that doesn't usually get enough spotlight. So I want to give you that chance to shout out your assistants and other big names.
Absolutely, and I'm a firm believer of surrounding yourself with people that are smarter and better than you are, and makes me look good. But Dawn Farron and I have been coaching together for I think 11 or 12 years now. Dawn is an excellent offensive mind, and I rely heavily on him and the way he calls the game offensively. Every now and again we'll make eye contact in the corners, and if he knows if I want something, I'll signal to him. But for the most part, it's Dawn's show on offensively. We have a newcomer this year, Melissa Starkey. Melissa comes to us as a volunteer. She played college ball at Ckrner University, actually, and she has some boys in South Range School District, and she's coached both at the high school and collegiate level too. So she brings a wealth of experience, and getting to know her this year, not just the experience, the ideas that she has, the camaraderie with kids. It's awesome. And then I've been with Gianna. I call her Marinucci, but her maiden name's Rowan. So Gianna Rowan and Lexi Roach bring also a wealth of experience. They're our main JV coaches, but they do assist at the varsity level when JV's not playing.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but Lexi's sister is doing pretty good for herself down in Auburn, right?
She plays for Auburn, yeah.
Right. So
starting shortstop as a freshman.
No, that's pretty amazing. I know that name, and obviously Haley Roach is also at YSU right now doing work there too. So what a great softball family to have in your program.
Lexi played for YSU, and Gianna played. She didn't play at the collegiate level, to my knowledge, but she played very high competitive travel ball. So I got a ton of experience with me, and totally rely on them. In fact, on Friday last week, I said, I committed to go see my children down in Virginia on Friday. You guys got practice, and I didn't worry one bit about it. So love having them all.
Coach, DJ Yoakley has basically made the CEO mandate that we ask you about your nickname Spanky, and tell the story on how you got it. So
So DJ comes down to Myrtle with us, and I hope he's coming down this year. He comes down to Myrtle with us. He's sitting in the press box in the back, and I go give my lineup to the coach on the other side. So I'm passing DJ, and he says, hey, coach, do you mind getting me the other coach's name? And I said, no problem. So I said, hey, by the way, I got to give your name to the guy in the press box there he's broadcasting the game back home. He goes, just have him call me Spanky. So I said, okay. So I went back to DJ and said, his name's Spanky. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, it is. That's what he told me. So DJ thought I was lying to him. So now that's how I got my nickname from DJ of Spanky. And I also returned that name back to him. So to me, he's also Spanky.
Spanky. I love it. I love it, Coach. I mean, looking too, real quickly, I want to give you that opportunity to call out the South Range faithful if there's any of them that happen to be living under a rock. I know usually you guys get great support anyway, but if there is someone living under a rock, what do you believe? Or what do you believe? What is your first game of the season? Shout it out first day and when the South Range faithful can come and see you.
So our first official game is Monday at Jefferson. If you look at the forecast, I doubt it's going to happen. So I talked to Jefferson's coach yesterday. Game time's supposed to be 5 o'clock, but it'll be more like 5:45 because of our busing issues as far as when we can leave the school. So to the South Range faithful who don't want to go to Jefferson, they will be coming down to South Range on Tuesday next week, 5 o'clock start.
Coach, you're getting questions from the comments section. I think this was a pretty good one we could talk about a little bit because you've been in the district a while, in the district in Division III, and I think this is an easy answer. But what do you think is the biggest threat for you guys in the district of Division III?
Well, in the district, you always got to look at Ursuline. I don't know like where they may fall. We saw them in the regionals last year. Ursuline's huge. I mean, they're under a new coach right now, but I would say that if we happen to see them in the districts, then that could be a major problem. And there's some great programs out there that you don't even know what's coming up. Like, I use Austin Town Fitch as an example. I know they're Division I, but they got the luxury of a stud pitcher as a freshman coming in. I don't know what's happening in the other schools. Waterloo always brings a really good program. Kirtland brings a really good program. We saw them in the districts last year. So, I think if I were to point my finger at one team right now, it would definitely be Ursuline.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate the time talking to you. We know that it's going to be a very successful season, and we know that we'll be talking to you again real soon.
We'll give it our best. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Take care.